And welcome back to Business in Motion, a program focusing on business and entrepreneurship from an African-centered perspective. I'm your host, RGL Biz Coach, and I'm happy that you're here, and I hope that you are happy to be here. That last message with Dr. Mumby was very, very powerful. I just say, I must say, and as I had stated earlier, it's like how you can actually use your mind power to create your ideal life. And it all starts with the mind power. And this is some of the things that she's talking about, and just getting yourself, positioning yourself to be able to take on the blessings. Sometimes, you can just put yourself in a funk where there's all sorts of powerful things and positive things that's going on around you, and you're not even aware of them, because you're too caught up into the negativity and the other things. And with Dr. Mumby, she's basically saying, look, the hard lifting, you don't even have to do anymore. The hard lifting, you've got forces there. There is a power, there are things that's going on right now today that will assist you in whatever it is you might want to achieve, whatever it is you might want to experience. But in order to benefit from all of this and to be able to enjoy it and to externalize those gifts that you have and to bring them out, because the universe needs your gifts. That every one of you has a gift that is special to you. It's something that is unique to you, and the universe needs it. Otherwise, you wouldn't have that gift. It was given there to you to bring, because in this day and time, we need it. So go back if you can and just check out that Dr. Mumby. Or in other words, you are going to be able to come on to some other social media and different things, and you'll be able to get certain excerpts from this particular program. And that's all part of that new Business in Motion program that I'm speaking about. But anyway, again, I just want to thank Kim for calling in. She was obviously tuned in very well and listened to her perspectives. And thank you, Deirdre, for your perspectives.
Oh, absolutely. No
All
problem.
right. And as mentioned in my opening, I'm going to be talking to you about one of my most favorite places in the world to travel, to the music. I guess you all can hear when you hear some of the music that's playing here, because the first song, by the way, that you heard on the first break was Earth, Wind, and Fire. That was EWF, and they were doing their thing. And I'm quite sure a lot of you old heads, you already know it. You know this song. That was an extended version, one that had been remixed. It goes on much longer than the one that was on the album. And that second song was Barumba, and that's by Incognito. And that's their Brazilian. Both of them got that Brazilian backdrop. And so on Business in Motion, just know that when you tune in, when you get all this good, powerful, up-to-date information, that you're also going to get some good sounds, and a lot of it is going to be Brazilian bass, that bossa nova, that jazz and all, and I hope you enjoy it. So anyway, let me just tell you all, about my trip. I was down to a whole brand new city, one that I had never visited before. I've gone to Brazil numerous times, but, like most folks, I started out going to Brazil in Rio de Janeiro and hanging out on Copacabana Beach with a lot of my friends. And I was blown away from the first time that I went there, because I visited a lot of places in the Caribbean, Mexico, lived in Tokyo and different places. And I like it all. I love traveling, and a lot of the places outside of this country I enjoy. It's like I can take a place, and even though there might be negativity, I'm one who I don't focus on a lot of the negative aspects of anybody or any place. I try and find the good in it. And I found good in all the places that I have visited. Now, with Rio de Janeiro, first of all, there is plenty of good. Okay? You don't have to look hard to find good. Now, it's got its negative component, don't get me wrong. It has it. But just from a geography standpoint, I've never seen any place that was that beautiful. I used to think the San Francisco Bay Area was like just awesome, off the hook. You can go to some place. I know I used to hang out there and would go behind University of California, Berkeley, and I would just look out, and where you're up so high up in the air until when you look down, you're on top of the clouds, and you can see that sun coming in, and it would hit the clouds, and then after it hit that clouds, how the sun would come out in like bursts, like rays that were coming over, just coming out of the clouds, and you just look and say, am I even on Earth? Is this Earth? Can it be this beautiful? Well, let me tell you, Rio takes it about 2 times greater than that. Rio de Janeiro is beautiful, and a lot of times when you see Brazil, they will show you this mountain of the Jesus Christ, and that mountain is called Corcovado. And I've been up there and looked out, and it's just breathtaking. Again, just awesome. The thing about it is San Francisco area doesn't have any peaks that high. But anyway, I don't want to go too far off track here. But San Francisco is very beautiful. Rio de Janeiro about 2 times. And so I would I'd go down to Rio de Janeiro, and the food was on target. The hospitality, the way you treated the people, just very friendly, very good. And then that music, oh my God. And then later, I had a person who I met who's in Washington, D.C., and he happened to be a professional soccer player, a former professional soccer player from Brazil. And he played professionally in Italy and back in Brazil. And, he and I were talking, and he said, look, I got to bring you down to my place. He said, if you come down to my city, he said, you won't just go to Rio anymore. And I said, okay, I'll take you up on it. Well, his city happened to be Salvador, Bahia. Now, Salvador, Bahia is a state. Bahia is a state, and about 85% of all of the residents are of African descent. It totally blew me away. Seeing this huge lake right in the middle of the city, and it has these like African, how should I call them, the Orishas, the African Orishas. That would be the equivalent of like a Catholic saint or something. But they have these statues all around the place, and the people still eating the foods and everything that came from Africa. It was like they resisted the Portuguese so greatly until they did everything possible to maintain and hold on to their African culture. So a lot of people you talk to around Bahia and everything, they can tell you where their people came from in Africa, unlike here in America. That's very hard for us to do. And then, I just fell in love with it. Now, after that, I got to visit some other places and all. And this time was first time going to Natal. And this was a business. It was all about business. I have a partner, Carlos, who's called in on this program. He's called in, a number of times, and we have chatted and everything. He talked about a lot of the opportunities that are in Natal. And let me tell you, first of all, I got a list of things I'm going to talk about. But first, I'm just going to mention some things that I can just remember just right off the bat. I would say probably the most negative aspect is just the trip. I do wish that they would create some sort of a hub, an airline hub or something up in the northern part of Brazil, because if they did, you could reduce the flight time to about 6.5 hours from most parts of the United States. But as it stands, you have to go down south. So you're flying about 3 hours past Natal, and you typically you have to do a layover in Sao Paulo, and then you catch your connecting flight. And that extends the time to the trip. But I'll say that's probably the most negative aspect. Now, once they do build that hub where you can fly directly from the U.S. into Natal, I'm telling you, things are going to just take off like crazy. I'm telling you. First of all, Natal happens to be the number 1 city in the world for clean air. And once you get there, oh my God, you just see it, you can feel it, it feels good, and it's a very clean city. And in comparison to all of the other cities that are in Brazil, it's a very safe place. And so anyway, I'm flying down, I get there, and when I finally get to Natal, I get my main man, Carlos, he picks me up at the airport. And we go straight from there. It's like, okay, I went and I got to check out his place. I'd been seeing it. He'd been sending me photos and videos of his homestead there. And I'm telling you, that same place, if it were here in Washington, D.C. metropolitan area, would be valued at well over $2 million. Now, he's not on the beach, okay? And I think he told me he paid less than $200,000, okay, for this place. He's got swimming pool, everything, different levels, about 3 or 4 different levels in the place. And I'm like, wow, I'm really feeling this. And the thing, like I never seen in any other place before, is where they would integrate outside and inside. Like you could be in this living room and there's an open part where the water comes in and it's outside. So it's like I just never seen it before. The only place I've ever seen that is in Brazil. Well, Carlos' home reflects that. That is the way that it's designed and that's the way that it is. So I was feeling that. Then afterwards, just being there, we got to go. He took me down to the beach. I'm like, look, I got to go. I got to have some coconut water, in other words. So we went straight, rode to the beach, and it went over there, and I'm checking it out. It wasn't that many because that was on a Monday, and I got in there, it was like on a Monday afternoon, and so, we were hanging out on the beach, or just at a restaurant, and, it had a couple of caipirinhas. That's their national drink. Now, I think I had Caparosca. It's just a matter of them putting a little vodka in it versus that Acacia, the other alcoholic beverage that they use for the caipirinha. So, had that, drink my coconut water, and we just sit back, and I'm like, just basking in the sun and just letting it all come in and just kind of getting my head right and everything, because I knew the next day we were getting ready to start touring. We were getting ready to start going out, checking out more of these places that he already had lined up for me to see. So anyway, that on that particular beach where we were, it's like the primary beach if you're in the city of Natal, and that's called Ponte Negra. And, if you Google it, you will check it out. And there's certain things with Ponte Negra, that's where like most of, it's kind of like the boardwalk, what we would consider a boardwalk, but they've got like clubs, they have numerous restaurants, and all your commerce, everything is there. And just a very, very good and vibrant place. A very, very vibrant place at Ponte Negra Beach. So I really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed it a lot. And another one that I want to talk about, that was on day one. So, I had to get my room. Oh, yeah, and I got to tell you, I stayed because Carlos had hooked me up with this hotel. And it was like right in the city. But it wasn't on the beach. It was about 2 blocks off of the beach. And, I just paid for a few nights. And lo and behold, it was $20 a night. I mean, it just totally blew me away. This totally blew me away. And I'm renting a room, and the room had 3 beds in it. Had a small television, but for $20 a night, that was it. And so I hung out there on that one. And then before I, left, I told him, I said, look, what I want to do is I want to check out one of the other hotels. And so what I did is I just Googled and I pulled up and I saw the most expensive one that was there. And it was called the Aquarius Hotel. Huge, like a resort. And so I relocated into that one and was able to rent actually it was like a 1-bedroom apartment. Off the hook. I'm looking directly at the swimming pool area, and the beach was right behind it. And every morning they had some of the best fruit you've ever had in your life. I'm talking about the watermelon. I'm talking about the cantaloupe, the honeydew, the berries. Oh my God. I said, this is the place. And the thing, again, that was so intriguing, it was $52 a night. That was it. $52. Listen to me. You've got to come with me down in Natal and check this out. $52 a night. Now, keep in mind, again, this is what you would consider low season for them because they're below the equator, which means when we're experiencing our summer, they're experiencing their winter and vice versa. But check this out. In their winter, the temperature, the climate, that's another thing. Very appealing. If you like sunlight, and they call Natal the city of sun. All right? And the temperature was 86 degrees. It was 86 degrees each and every day that I was there. You already know. Now, you're going to get a little bit of rain. It rains a little bit for, maybe 20 minutes or so. And the sun comes out, and you have sunlight all day long, 86 degrees. Now, I asked Carlos, I'm like, well, what happens if this is the winter? What is it like in the summer? Because I'm thinking it's going to be 110 or something like Phoenix, Arizona. He said, no, the temperature goes up about 2 degrees, and that's it. So you would go from 86 degrees in the wintertime to 88 degrees in the summer. Only a 2-degree difference. And he says it's like that every day. So I'm like, wow, I'm feeling this. I like this. All right. So then, anyway, first day was over. The next day, they came pick me up early. I mean, like really early. I'm out there, and so we got to ride, and I went to a place called Tabatinga. Tabatinga, that's another beach. And if you have ever been to California, especially in Southern California, around Malibu and Monte Carlo and some of these other places, if you look out, I mean, it's just gorgeous. Now, don't get me wrong. Malibu is Malibu. Okay, and it's Malibu for a reason. Now, Malibu is where people like Janet Jackson, she lives in Malibu, just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. But if you take away those huge mansions and everything that's in Malibu, if you take away the fact you're California, if you're just looking at the geography, the way that the slopes are and the way you're kind of up on a hill and you're looking over this beautiful, crystal clear water with that bluish tint to it, that's what it reminded me of. It reminded me of being in Malibu, California. And some of the housing that's there, I mean, just really off the hook. And my main man, Carlos, owned land. And what has happened, we've actually come together because he connected me with one of the #1 developers who happens to be in Natal, Brazil. And we've come together and said, this is what we've got to do. We're going to bring forces together. I'm going to be bringing more people from the U.S., taking you down there so you can experience this paradise and just see what beaches such as Tabatinga has got to offer. Because presently, we're looking at developing some housing. And I'll talk about it more after our next break. I go into that a little bit more about some of these opportunities. But that was one, the Tabatinga Beach. Very exciting, numerous opportunities. And then the next day, we took a trip. We went out a little further and went to a place called San Miguel. And the San Miguel area is really, it's really developed. And we saw places. I ran into developers there who were from Spain, from the country of Spain. And we looked at certain properties that they have, things that they have developed, and we're just checking out the prices. But in San Miguel, the prices we felt were a little steep. We actually went there thinking that we were going to be looking at a big parcel or a development that were being sold for about $2.5 million US, to discover that my main man Carlos didn't see that one, and it was $12,500,000 US dollars. And so as a result, like I say, we were very impressed because it's kind of way you got to drive about 50 minutes to get away from the city of Natal to get to San Miguel. And you go back there, but you're talking about a village that is hooked up. Oh, my God. And the communities, the way that they build them, they got a lot of things going on down there that we're not up on yet here in the U.S. And we can kind of learn from one another. But they've got some things going on that are very, very good. And so we were checking out those things in San Miguel, and just came to a conclusion that if this is selling for $12,500,000 here, we really got to go to work back in Tabatinga, because Tabatinga is only just a few minutes away. But then we went in San Miguel, and I actually saw an area that was too beautiful to even talk about. Brand new development. I went into one of the houses that one of the gentlemen had built, and the way that they do them, it's like they built like you got your kitchen area, you got your eating area, you got your sitting area. It's like in one building. Then you got in the middle is like a courtyard with a swimming pool, and then on the opposite side is another building with the bedrooms. It totally blew me away. And I stepped out of there and I'm like saying, yeah, I'm ready to buy. I want to buy. I see this. And then we went a little bit further, and it's like a gated community, and it was right there on the ocean. Off the hook. Beautiful. Everything that's being built just blew us totally away. And so I'm telling you, being impressed is not even the right word to use. I was even more than impressed with everything that I saw there at San Miguel. And then one other one that we went to was called Pipa. The Pipa Beach. So there's like 4 different beaches around Natal, and this is just a few, that I got to see. That totally blew my mind. And I'm telling you, after seeing these, we came back and we said we got to do some brainstorming, because this is just too much. And now there's some other dynamics. There are things that are going on. For instance, the airport that's in Natal has just got taken over, I think, by a group from Scandinavia. They have taken it over for the purpose of advertising. They feel like, see, for a lot of Americans, when I'm saying America, well, Brazil is America too, but typically I'm talking about people here in the United States of America. We know the Caribbean. We've been there. We know Mexico, been down there, okay? A lot of us been over in Europe to Paris and England and various places and Italy, and some have even gone a little bit into Africa, but a lot of us don't know Brazil. A lot of us don't know because one thing I can say that they didn't teach. I know going through school, they never told me that Brazil was a predominantly black country. I didn't know that. But more than 50% of the people down in Brazil are of African descent. Just not understanding these, not understanding the beauty, the culture, and everything that they held down there. But the point that I want to convey here is once you get the right people in that's promoting this area, it's going to take off because I'm telling you, I love Jamaica, Bahamas, the St. Martin, the Caribbean, I mean, like the Virgin Islands, all of that, but they can't touch Brazil. Brazil is too vast. It has too much to offer. The culture that they hold on to is just so rich that when you get there and you're eating the food and you're experiencing the way that the people vibe with each other, it becomes very addictive. That's all I can say. It becomes very addictive. And those are the things, like I'm saying, just going down there and checking out everything is some of the things that I actually saw, what I got to experience, and it just blew my mind. Now I'm going to go back down my list here. Let me see here. We was talking about being down in Natal. I mentioned it's the #1 city for clean air that's in the world. That's a big plus. That's a positive. You're talking about temperatures ranging between 86 degrees, even in the wintertime, and only 88 in their summertime. It's only a 2-degree difference. That is it. The cost, that is the big one. Let me tell you. The cost is a fraction. And when I'm saying a fraction, it's already much cheaper than what everything is here in the United States. But then when you take into consideration the exchange rate between the dollar and the Brazilian currency, the real, it just makes it so much more favorable. And that's why I was able to get a room for $20 in an economy, a very nice hotel, $20. And then I'm going to their best, and it was only $52 a night. That has to do with that exchange rate and just the currency, how powerful that dollar is right now over the Brazilian real. The population, I mentioned that, and all I can say at this particular point is that area is ready for the U.S. investor. You're looking at a hidden gem, and when we come back, when I'm back on this last segment of this program, I'm going to talk about the 5 keys. 5 keys that you can actually turn, as I mentioned earlier, that will allow you to generate massive wealth investing in real estate in this paradise. So don't go anywhere. Be back, and we're going to run it all down. And with that being stated, we all queued up and everything right there for our last break. I'll see you as soon as we come back. Bye-bye.